There's an episode of Doctor Who, which I just remembered and I've looked up after remembering it. Um, I think it's called Midnight. Uh, it's a pretty good episode from the David Tennant run of Doctor Who. Uh, if you're not British or not into Doctor Who, this is gonna be nonsense. But trust me, it all makes sense in a bit. Anyway, this is an episode of Doctor Who, uh, basically about this like alien dude creature who, uh, like sucks energy out of people by like possessing them, basically. And the way that it does it is so first it'll copy what you're saying. So you'll be talking whatever, and then you'll hear it copying you, like mimicking you, repeat, not in the same voice, but just saying everything you said after you said it, right? Uh, and then after a while of doing that, it'll slowly get closer to you, not physically, but like in the timings of when it's talking. It'll slowly be talking closer to when you're talking until eventually it catches up and you're talking at the same time. So everything you say, it's saying at the same time. And then that was a very dramatic finger snap. It goes in front of you, and that's how it possesses you. Then you're copying it, and then it has control of you. Uh, that's kind of what's happened with me. Except the alien monster is my wired self. I, at first, I was cat. It was mimicking me. I was. I gotta say this. I got a fucking mouth ulcer right now, like a little ulcer thing on the inside of my lip. It's really painful, especially when I talk. So I'm trying to talk, but it's kind of hurts. But anyway, back to what I was saying. To continue what I was just saying. Anyway, anyhow, uh, at first, anyway, I don't need to explain it. The metaphor makes sense. I don't actually need to explain it. It's all about moss. It always comes back to moss. It always comes back to moss. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna show you my moss. It's not a euphemism. Here, this is gonna be fucking sick. I'm excited to show you guys my moss. It lives in here, on the balcony. Uh, it's very cool. You open the window a little. You can't see it, so let me turn the flash on. There you go. Look at that moss. Look at those sporophytes. Oh, it's so cool. Growing in this flower pot. This is a bay tree. What sort of species is this? I actually can't tell. I'm still learning my moss identification skills. Looks a little bit like a star moss, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll need to look it up. I actually have never checked. But it's very bright green. It's very healthy. Uh, gets a lot of nutrients in the soil. There's also some nice lichens growing on this part of the plant. Uh, they're pretty chill as well. See these white bits? Those are lichens. There's lots of little springtails and shit that live in this flower pot, which keeps the soil nice and healthy. And I think this is actually a different species of moss over here. It looks like it's a different colour. So that's good. This is all what you want to be seeing, unless it's just a new patch of growth. But it's actually, that's quite unusual. Normally, moss grows by, so you see these little like taller bits from moss, right? You see that? There's some more over here. Let me explain the moss reproductive cycle because it's very interesting. So there's male and female moss plants. You can't really tell the difference between them. They look the same, but the male ones will like release a puff of sperm up, and it will absorb it. The sperm can swim in water, so it will get into water droplets that hang out on the moss's surface, because moss has no vascular system. And let me return. So it will swim through the water droplets of the female moss and fertilize the egg, and then those little tool bits that I just showed, those are basically the moss equivalent of flowers. The little sporophytes inside the little capsule at the top. If you saw it, there's actually a spore or a few spores in there, and the moss. The moss can launch those spores up in the air, and they get caught by the wind and fly off into the distance. So normally, moss will like spread over quite a wide area. It can get to. In fact, some species of moss can shoot their spores ridiculously high in the air, so high that they get into like the currents up in the higher atmosphere, and then they can get blown really fucking far. Like cross continents far. So yeah, it's very cool. Mosses are sick. They really know what's up, as I've been saying this entire time. But I concentrate a lot on mosses because I just think they look so good. But this is not to say that there aren't other species that are cool. I'm hiccuping now. I mentioned fungi occasionally. I'm not an expert on fungus, so I don't really talk about it that much. But something I don't really talk about ever is slime mold. That's my new one. That's what I'm getting into now is slime mold. Those guys are fucking sick. Slime mold is so cool. They're like they may actually be like as close to the level of moss and fungus as you can get. They're so cool. I'll report back once I've done more research on them because I don't want to spread any misinformation or anything. But I would highly recommend you look into slime mold. It's super cool. They're also really old, as most of the things I'm into are really old primitive forms of life, like amoebas. They're fucking sick though. Oh man, they're so cool. I feel so fucked today. I got all sorts of strange brain ones going on. I don't know if it's because I'm coming off of these SSRIs or what. If I'm sick or what. Like, I got all sorts of fucked up ones going on. So, I mean, I have been drinking heavily for the past few days, which is not good. And that might be why. Maybe my body's just reacting. That's one option. Option number 2, I didn't get enough REM sleep because it's really hot and hard to have deep sleep right now. I keep waking up in the night. That's option 2. Option 3, it's because I've lowered my dose. I'm tapering off of SSRIs. Or option 4, it's just a standard depressive episode, but like with just a little bit different. Just feels a little strange for some reason. Or the most likely option, some sort of mixture of the above things. Probably. I think what's most unfortunate is that I have this mouth ulcer at the same time. Actually, I'm gonna go take some painkillers in a second, because sometimes I forget that we live in the modern world where you can just kill pain with codeine. It's great. Whoever designed beds made them way too comfortable. Like, this is ridiculous. See this? It's ridiculous. This is a sign of ridiculousness. I could just be here forever. If only it wasn't... That's very annoying, that squeaky noise. Sounds a bit like a seagull. Fun fact, seagulls don't exist. My room has been blessed by Lane. If Lane existed in real life, she would be a slime amoeba moss crossover with fungus with fungus characteristics. Also, I guess a mold is kind of a fungus. Like, they're quite similar in a lot of ways. I don't know. As I said before, I need to do more research. I'm not in on it yet. Yeah, I don't plan on living that long, but if I was to live for a long time and get old, become a boomer, instead of doing normal boomer shit, I would like to just become a moss expert, but like for gardening and shit, you know? Like I'd like they use moss a lot in Japanese traditional gardens. I know this is that's like a very weeaboo thing to say, like not like a normal weeaboo, but like you know those boomer weeaboos. I don't know what they're if there's a special name for them. Japanophiles. I don't know. That sounds bad. That I don't like it. I don't like Japanophiles because it sounds like too much of a term of endearment. I just want to call them fuckers. You know those boomer fuckers who are really into Japan on like a surface level, like they get that you know, and like rich white middle class people who get like you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, those lot. I could imagine becoming like a guy that does makes Japanese gardens for those guys, uh, rich white people, because they've got a lot of money, and I'm genuinely interested in Japanese gardens, not just for the moss, but like you know, a lot of people don't even really like know what the artistry behind Japanese gardens is. You know those like stone, like gravelly things. It's called a dry garden. The gravelly type of style of Japanese gardens. Those are actually so the gardens are supposed to represent an abstract version of like a Japanese garden is more of like an abstract sculpture representing a nature scene than just a garden. So the gravel with the little patterns in it, like they use that special rake and do those patterns, those are supposed to represent the sea. So the gravel is like the sea with waves, and then the little rocks, there's normally rocks and patches of mosses and stuff, and maybe a tree or two, and those are the land masses in the sea. So normally it'll be based off of an actual location, often in Japan, but it doesn't have to be based on a location. Sometimes they are like even more abstracted. There's some gardens that are like mostly just geometrical shapes. I think there's a garden that is in a temple or somewhere that is a like a checkerboard pattern. Is that what I'm thinking of? I want to say it's in Hokkaido, but I think I'm wrong. I think it might be in Kyoto actually. Uh, but yeah, imagine that. I go like spend ages just looking up tutorials on YouTube how to make Japanese garden, and then I just go and uh make Japanese gardens for old people. That would be sick. I could grow out my beard and shit and really play up, learn Japanese, go to Japan, become Japanese, get facial reconstruction surgery so I look like a Jap. That's racist. They shouldn't have said that. I was gonna say look like a Japan, but for some reason they just said looks like a Jap, and then I remembered that Jap is a racial slur, and I shouldn't say racial slurs. Uh, so that's not good. Don't say don't have heated gaming moments. Don't do it. Um, yeah, Japan. It's a place that exists. Holy shit, that was a clump of hair. I just like went through my hair, ran my hand through my hair, and on the other side there was like a clump of hair in my hand. That can't be a good sign. Oh well, who needs hair anyway? Uh, I've been yawning a lot recently. It's not can't be good. My brain is just becoming some sort of mush. I think it's a good thing though. It's turning into I'm becoming my natural form of some sort of primitive moss amoeba something. I don't know. I think yeah, it's a bit ridiculous really. This whole consciousness business. I think it's a bit ridiculous. Consciousness is not even, it's just an imagined property when you have a lot of things close together, when you just have a lot of things acting independently, and they can communicate. Even though they act independently, they can communicate because the action is separate from the communication of that action. So you have a lot of things doing something that act independently but can communicate with each other. So let's say like a clockwork thing that can't have consciousness because a gear turns and that turns other gears. So a gear can't operate independently. But something like a nest of ants, each ant operates independently but also uses pheromones to communicate with other ants by like rubbing their antennas together or leaving pheromone trails and that sort of, and also by like sometimes when ants get very excited they vibrate their bodies to excite other ants around them. uh, so that is an example of how consciousness can form. If you got enough ants in a small enough space, then bam, emergent consciousness. uh, Same with fungi, same with all sorts of shit, same with the human brain, same with everything. Probably the same with computers, except you could simulate the things. It's complicated and I don't understand it, but I'm sure quantum computing would make. Actually, I don't know if quantum computing would really help with that. It would just mean that you can do more things, not necessarily better things. Like, I don't know. Maybe it would help. I mean, it probably would just from like increasing the speeds. Like you can make a fucking, I don't know, you can make a Game Boy emulator in Minecraft, but it'll run at 0.01 FPS. Like Seth Bling made an Atari 2600 emulator in Minecraft and it runs at 1 FPS, right? So it's unplayable, but it still exists. Same with all these sorts of things, if you want a consciousness that runs at a time scale humans can deal with, you're going to need it to be a little more complex than that. But time scales don't really matter, which is fine. I want to make a really long song with movements, there's not enough movements in music these days. So, like, what's the most recent song to have a movements, like to have separate movements? You know what it is? It's sicko mode, isn't it? It's fucking sicko mode. It is. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's make a proper song with movements. Back in the day, they used to have every song used to have movements, not just verse, chorus, verse, but like movements. You know. I mean, I'm not super into classical music. I'm more into Baroque music, which you may think Baroque is classical music. You don't know what you're talking about. Google it, bitch. Baroque music is the true music, and those guys they normally almost all Baroque music, uh, like well, not necessarily some of the more folk-minded Baroque music, but like the more the properly I don't know what the word is really. I'm not an expert, but normally split into three sections. I don't know if they're actually called movements. I think they are. I believe they're called movements, but I may be wrong. So they would have basically a fast bit, a slow bit, and a fast bit. If you think of any Baroque song, they almost all follow this pattern of fast, slow, fast. So, I don't know. What's probably the most famous Baroque piece? Uh, hmm. Maybe Minuet in G. Do you guys know that one? That one. That has it. Actually, I don't even know if it does have it. But I don't know. Take some like fucking Vivaldi Four Seasons. Everyone knows the Four Seasons, right? Uh, any Vivaldi Four Seasons song or any Vivaldi song actually. Let's go with oh no, what about Winter, right? So um, you got the beginning bit of Winter, It goes like does the stuff. It goes fast. And then it goes like yeah, and then there's a slow bit after that, which I've actually forgotten how it goes. I'm gonna need to look it up. Winter Vivaldi. Yeah, so that's the first bit. Is there a God, this song's so fucking sick. So this is still the fast bit. This is the slow bit in the middle of the song. I don't know how I forgot about this. This is like my favorite part of the song. Actually, it's not. The third section is my favorite part, but this is obviously the shit bangs. It's almost 3 a.m. I'm blasting Vivaldi, you know how it be. And then at the end of the song is the fast bit. This is how it sounds to me. Yeah, I mean they're all the same. It's the same as the verse, chorus, verse shit. I don't know how to explain it. What was I talking about? Sicko mode, right? I love Sicko mode for the pub, just for the reason. I think I heard this from Anthony Fantano the first time. I think that's what he said. It might have been someone else. But just for the reason that Drake brags about using Xanax for its intended medical use. Like, if that is not just a fucking snapshot of the current musical landscape. I took half a Xan. You took half a Xanax to go to sleep on the fucking flight. Oh, what an idiot. God, I hate music. And see, it was good back in the day. Spring is also fucking sick. Spring bangs. Spring is such a good song. I don't know if I've tried listening to I've listened to a lot of Baroque music, and nothing, in my opinion, Vivaldi is the best. Hey, what? Yeah, hey, yeah. Tell me that shit doesn't fucking bang. Oh my god, I fucking love that song. Oh, it's so good. Let me. Autumn is good as well, or fall, whatever. This song bangs as well. There's a Summer's the whole Four Seasons bangs to be honest. I do fuck with Summer a lot, to be honest. The beginning of Summer is dope. The way it starts off so chill. Na, na, na. Like, that's not what I would traditionally think of as summer. And this song actually has the opposite version of the three thing I was talking about, where it actually goes slow, fast, slow, I think. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. This sounds pretty quick to me. No, it definitely does go fast, slow, fast. If you think that the Baroque era didn't invent shredding, then you're fucking wrong. First of all, Baroque musicians were expected to be incredibly talented, and Baroque orchestras were smaller than modern orchestras, so the individuals would stand out a lot more. In fact, it was quite common to just be like quartets and shit. Quartets and shit, fam. Yeah. Oh, Baroque quartets and shit, fam. Yeah, that shit fucking bangs, fam. There was a focus on those individual soloists. Listen to Winter. Try and fucking play that shit. Try and play Winter on whatever instrument you play. Oh, it's so sick. And also there was an expectation that the musicians would like improvise flourishes and shit. If you hear a lot of Baroque music has little trills on it, right? Um, that was bad, but I knew what I meant in my brain. I can't really describe it in singing, but a lot of the idea is that in Baroque times, a lot of it would have been they would have improvised flourishes to show off their mad technical skill, which is basically just like modern fucking guitar god shit, except that it actually sounds good. You know, there's nothing I hate more than guitar shredding. I think that completely disregards the entire purpose of music. But then I also really love Baroque music. So, explain that. I will explain that, thank you very much. The harmonies are different and the technical skill is different on display. Uh, yeah, that's basically all I need to say. Guitar shredding, firstly, it's electric guitars, which is it's a different type of anyone who's played tried to do like really shred style guitar with like a lot of like tapping and lots of hammer-ons and shit knows that it's very different than playing on a classical guitar. And try that on a violin, you're fucked. You got to be mad talented to do that shit on a violin. Plus, uh, unlike guitar shredding is mostly designed to sound impressive while being uh, simple. You know, they'll do a lot of like runs up and down the fretboard where it's just sort of moving like that. Whereas um, a lot of these pieces from the Baroque era were actually made to be challenging to show because the people listening to it would have known. So there would actually be like a lot of jumps up and down the fretboard and shit. And especially trying to keep in mind that you gotta have good tone because your instrument doesn't have frets. Oh man, that shit's fucking sick. You gotta love the Baroque era, and also I just prefer the harmonies over modern rock guitar god shit. Oh, like the pentatonic scale is so fucking overdone. Uh, if I want to hear pentatonic scale, I ain't going to fucking Slash or whatever his name is. There's only one like shreddy guitar player that I kind of fuck with, and that's Buckethead. Obviously, I fuck with Buckethead. Who doesn't? If you don't fuck with Buckethead, then who are you? He's done every possible genre of music. He must have one album that you could like. He's like the Boris of being awesome. I don't know what that means, but there you have it. I said it nonetheless. Baroque and Pyrophites, yes. Uh, those guys knew what the fuck was up. Also, Baroque instruments they have a sound to them, like the lute and shit. Oh man, that shit bangs. Uh, if you want to talk like the musical genres that focus on technical skill, for me, it's gotta be jazz. But jazz doesn't like necessarily focus on technical skill, but you know what I mean, right? The demand a high level of technical skill. Jazz, Baroque, and flamenco probably. That's what I would put. Uh, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm talking performance skill. Obviously, there's other obviously it takes a lot of technical skill and like the production to make a really perfect pop song, but that's a different thing. Or like it takes a lot of technical knowledge to make a very complex uh, analog techno song or something or IDM song. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the performance. Uh, and in that aspect, those are my top three: jazz, baroque, and flamenco. Flamenco is sick. Uh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I also fuck with I fuck with a lot of things, man. There's a lot of things I fuck with. Uh, tube and throat singing. You ever listen to tube and throat singing? That's so sick. Oh man, they know what the fuck is up. You don't. I bet you don't even. I bet you think the point of tube and throat singing is that ooh. It's not. It's controlling the overtones. You don't even understand. You're not as cultured as me. I'm a fucking genius, and I deserve respect. No one even liked Cat on the Hot Tin Roof except like me. And you know what? Fuck you. I don't care. I like what I like. And if I like it, I like it. Let's try and identify my moss. We got some, well, this looks like it may well have been it. This, springy turf moss. That could be it. It definitely wasn't that. Let me see. Swan's neck thyme moss. Especially abundant. Yeah, that's not it. That's way too tall. It definitely wasn't. Oh, it may have been that. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. Those are like yellowy. It's not. I don't think it is any of these. It may have been this, but that seems like it grows too tall. It wasn't this at all. It definitely wasn't this. It could have been this. It wasn't sphagnum. Red stemmed. I don't remember it being red stemmed. I thought it was green stemmed. Tree bases. It may well have been this swan's neck thyme moss. I don't know. If you can identify my moss, please do. Or please send this video. Maybe not the end parts of it, or the part where I talk about Doctor Who, or the bit where I go. You know. But send it to your local botanist and see if they can help me with my moss identification. Just take a screenshot or something. Please don't humiliate me in front of my future biophytologists. Those aren't a fucking. That's not a word. Please don't. No, I don't actually give a shit. If I didn't want people to see these videos, I wouldn't be putting them online, would I? Oh, this is some dumb shit that people do all the fucking time. People will make a post and then be like, I didn't expect people to see that. Like, you know those people who get caught out for posts they made like 5 years ago or whatever, or more, right? And it's like, well, what the fuck? Did you think you were going to put something on the internet and no one was going to see it? It's the internet. Everyone's connected. No matter where you go, it's like these motherfuckers haven't even watched Lane. Stupid idiots. This is a 30 minutes long rant about all sorts of various topics. It's like an old school no thank you video. Are you happy now? I can't even. I'm trying to avoid alcohol because I've been drinking too much. I'm also probably going to stay up all night, but I don't know if I am. I don't really know anything. You know, it's something that I'm realizing more and more is I don't really know anything. I don't think, man, this is not just me being. Look, I'm not fucking the smartest man in Athens, because fuck Plato, he's a little bitch. Did you even know that I have a song called that? No, you didn't, because you're a little bitch. Of course you didn't, you little bitch. Of course you didn't, little bitch. Of course you didn't, little bitch. Of course you didn't. Yeah. I fucks with all of them. I don't fucks with all of them. I fucks with Diogenes though. God, Diogenes is such a cool person. You know, it's not 100% confirmed that he said this, but it's quite likely that this is a direct quote from Diogenes. The only inner. Oh fuck, what was it? Hold on, I gotta look it up. Diogenes. I mean, Diogenes did tell Alexandria to. Ah, yeah, this is it. In a rich man's house, there's no place to spit but his face. Fuck yes. Tell me that Diogenes isn't a proto-anarchist. No, he's not even a proto-anarchist. He just is an anarchist. All these bullshit anarcho-syndicalists need to go fucking look up Diogenes because they don't know shit. Oh my god. Tell that to a motherfucker, they'll be like, oh no, don't do that. Nah, do it. Bitch. Are you a real anarchist? Where's your barrel? Oh man, Diogenes of Sinope. Diogenes the Cynic. Fuck yes. I need to see if did he ever write anything? I don't think he ever wrote anything, but I'm probably wrong. I think it's just like stuff that he Diogenes made a virtue of poverty. That's just his Wikipedia. Xenos. That's nothing. What the fuck? Diogenes is much like Socrates and even Plato in his sentiments regarding um hold on. It's disputed whether Diogenes left anything in writing. If he did, the text composed have since been lost. In cynicism, living and writing are the two components of ethical practice, but Diogenes is much like Socrates and even Plato in his sentiments regarding the superiority of direct verbal interaction over the written account. Diogenes scolds Hegesias after he asked to be lent one of Diogenes' writing tablets. You are a simpleton, Hegesias. You do not choose painted figs but real ones, and yet you pass over the true training and would apply yourself to written rules. What fucking god! I didn't even mean to look that up, but he's so right. Oh my god, Diogenes, you're a fucking legend. I've been slacking on my Diogenes recently. I need to really like fuck him up. I need to fuck him up. I need to actually become yo. Come watch No Thank You's Journey to Diogenesness. First step, Amazon.com. Where to buy a large barrel big enough to sleep in. Step 2, how to befriend dogs. I'm totally gonna fucking, I'm gonna grab a fucking lamp and start walking around places, secretly filming like a prank video. Diogenes prank gone wrong. Get a lamp, shine it in. Oh, so I'm just looking for an honest man. I'm just walk around with a plucked chicken, just shove it in people's faces. Behold a man. Behold a man. Oh, fuck yes. Go to fucking philosophy classes and just start loudly eating crisps. Did you know that Diogenes did that? He used to go to lectures and just loudly eat in the front row to distract people. What a legend. I'm telling you, Diogenes is one of those people that the more you look into him, the more you realize he's just fucking sick. He didn't even used to sleep in his barrel like a lot of the times. He used to just like chill outside. He used to fall asleep in the road and in like markets and shit. Also, he used to have only one possession, which was just a bowl to eat from. And then one day he saw a homeless child eating from the ground with his hands. And Diogenes looks at the bowl and was disgusted with himself and threw the bowl away. And then, because he's just sick, he used to piss in public because he just, radical reclaiming of the city. Philosophy has just been on one long journey to get back to Diogenes. Anyway, this video is way too long. Fuck you.